for us. And for more, let's bring in Senate Armed Services Committee member, Florida Republican Rick Scott. Senator, do you think that these so-called allies of ours will get on board with helping secure the Hormuz after the military operations have removed the threat? Because that does seem to be the logical kind of tick-tock, the step-by-step, if you will, that we just knock Iran out, that Carr Island, we're sending some 2,500 Marines for a reason. We already bombed the island, didn't touch the oil and energy assets, but potentially we could. Once the Iranian regime is decapitated, then what?
Well, first off, what Trump has done is he's cleaned up the mess that Obama and Biden, this appeasement that was allowing Iran to have a nuclear weapon. This is the president that actually cares about the American public. Let's never forget, the main thing here is to prevent Iran from attacking America and our troops in the Middle East. No nuclear weapons, no ballistic missiles. Now, it's not just good for us, it's good for every democracy in the world. So I hope our allies show up, but guess who's going to get hurt? China and Japan and South Korea. We're not dependent on oil from the Middle East, right? They are. Thanks to Trump, we're self-sufficient. So Europe is not. So hopefully they'll show up. Hopefully they'll do their part. But I'm proud that the president decided to save American lives by destroying Iran's ability to produce a nuclear weapon that Obama and Biden was allowing them to do, and destroy their ability to send a ballistic missile hit America or our troops.
Senator, President Trump has said he thinks China ought to come in and help secure the Strait of Hormuz as well. I'm wondering if you like that idea. I myself would get a little nervous about China militarily having a presence there, but maybe I'm wrong on that. What do you think?
Well, I think China's crazy not to. I mean, China is so dependent on oil from Iran. So if they don't show up, and as this continues, it decimates their economy. Now, I personally believe it's a despicable government in China. The fact that if their economy is decimated and they don't have the money to continue to be a thorn in America's side, I think is good for us. But if they want to come in and take the risk for something for their benefit, that's great. But I think we should be very cautious at putting Americans at risk of making sure oil flows to China and other places. I mean, China has the biggest problem with this, not the USA.
But Senator, what do you say to all your constituents and all the fine people in the state of Florida? Because diesel's north of $5 a gallon now. Regular gasoline prices are heading higher. I think they were $3.71 earlier today. It might be over there, and we might be a net exporter of petroleum products, but certainly every single American who has to drive somewhere or is even buying anything that's carted or brought on a freight train is feeling it.
Well, nobody wants to see high gas prices. And by the way, if you remember under the Democrats, the inflation we had, the Democrats trying to shut down fossil fuels. So no Democrat can even talk about this because they're complete hypocrites. Trump is doing everything he can to make us energy independent. But I want to remember the main thing here is I don't want any American killed by a nuclear weapon from Iran or a ballistic missile. That's what we're dealing with right now. That is way more important than oil and gas prices. I want them down. I grew up in public housing. I know how it's devastating families around the world and around our country. But we've got to remember the main thing is we've got to stop their ability to kill us. And we'll get oil prices back down again like Trump has done. He did in his first term, and he was doing it in this term. But we've got to make sure Americans are safe. Let's remember the important thing here is the safety of Americans.
Senator, I want to get your reaction to this as well. Secretary of State Marco Rubio making it crystal clear what the administration wants in any potential deal with Cuba. Listen to this.
Suffice it to say that the embargo is tied to political change on the island. The embargo is codified. But the bottom line is their economy doesn't work. It's a non-functional economy. It's an economy that has survived. That revolution, it's not even a revolution, that thing they have, has survived on subsidies from the Soviet Union and now from Venezuela. They don't get subsidies anymore, so they're in a lot of trouble. And the people in charge, they don't know how to fix it.
Your thoughts on what's next with Cuba?
Well, the people of Cuba are going to show up. They're fed up with a government that has never worked, that's oppressed the Cuban people for decades and decades. They've been the problems, all the problems in Latin America start with Cuba. So the fact that they're not getting any oil that they can't even pay for if they could get it, right? This is going to end, and we're going to get a democracy, and we're going to get an ally in Cuba, just like we're going to end up with a democracy in Venezuela and an ally. So, thank God we have a president that wants to take care of this hemisphere. I mean, think of, again, Obama appeased the Castro regime. I mean, they are oppressing their people. They've killed Americans, and Obama goes and plays baseball with them. I mean, so Trump is doing the right thing here. I'm excited for the future of Cuba.
Senator Rick Scott, great to see you, sir.
Nice seeing you, Dick.
Be well.
Have a good night. Bye-bye. See you, Brian.